Hello.
Yes, we are coming live.
Yes.
We are. Well, live is a big word. Hi, everybody. We're back after the 2-week hiatus. It was busy times for the label and personally, I guess.
It
We got,
was.
so yeah, we took a small break. I don't think too many people care, but whatever. Yeah, today we're going to do or delve a bit into the raw black metal scene, I guess. We selected 5 records, no, 6 records.
Six, yeah.
Yeah, 6 that we're going to talk about, but maybe more than the records, just talk about raw black metal in general, I guess. What's new with the label?
I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, good starting point. For once, I'm the one in the winning position, I guess.
Yeah.
What's up? Phil?
I've been busy with packing all called off store orders. I have the record since last week or so, but I didn't came to packing them last weekend or so. So I've done the last 3 days. I've been packing orders and shipping orders and driving to the post office and the parcel shop and the other parcel shop, depending on where to ship and how much it weighs. It's all different kinds of
Oh, okay.
deals
So
and places to be. And
you ship through just post, and what else?
in Belgium, I ship through bpost,
Mhm.
the National Postal Service. To the neighbor countries, I ship through an online service who have good prices to Germany, Holland, the UK. And those are good prices, and that's all DPD or DHL. No,
Oh, yeah.
DPD or PostNL. So
Yeah.
that's also with tracking. And then to further away countries like Sweden, Norway, the rest of Europe actually, or the US or Japan or Australia. I shipped all over the world this week.
Mhm.
It's a record store in Antwerp who has super big professional contract with the bpost, and he has very good prices.
Okay.
But now for a CD to the US, he has to enter all data to fill the customs document,
Hmm.
the CN23, and it's too much work. He's busy all day with just entering data, and he said, "Yeah, I can't do it too much anymore." So
Yeah.
it's a bit, yeah.
So I
I have
don't
to look, and Mondial Relay. I use that as well.
like that one. That's cheap as hell.
That's cheap, yeah.
bpost is
Very
making it
cheap.
impossible for itself to exist as an entity, I think, because it's such a hassle just sending a package to the US for example, or outside of Europe, just with what you're saying.
Yeah, I never make labels, sending labels for those countries online on the bpost site.
Mhm.
I only ship within Belgium through
Okay.
bpost, and I'm not a professional customer. I
Oh
just
yeah,
make labels online, and
ship it out. I
yep.
sent a package to a friend of mine in America, and it was Beechwood Drive, I think was his address. And the postal worker had to type it in, and it came out as Bernge Derv. And but it arrived. I don't know how,
Okay.
but
A few months ago. I was at the post office, and I had a stack of parcels. And the last one was. I said, "Oh yeah, it's from PostNL." And she said, "Oh, you devil, get out here!" Yeah, it was just having a laugh, but I said, "Yeah, it's 2.5 kilo. I ship it for €12 to the Netherlands. What's your price?" Yeah, and I think it's 23, 25, something like that.
something like that.
So yeah,
You both, whatever. All right.
enough shipping nerdness.
Yeah, but it's good to hear that because people think records ship themselves lately.
Yeah, no. I also have a lot of like paper cuts from the 4 legs mailers. You have to do like this, and then you have the fold, and you take them and I cut myself all the time.
Yeah.
I have one here, I have one here, I have one here. It's
Stigmata. Yeah, Goldovstvo Records is selling well, I think.
yeah, it's sold out in pre-order.
Okay.
So it's officially released tomorrow. Our vinyl is sold out. Our vinyl has shipped except for orders with shirts.
Okay.
The shirts were delivered today, so they're all packed. I just have to do another round to all the. Yeah.
Okay.
I also found a box of in Buncha records 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So though I had 20 more of those. They're all gone as well. A lot to the US.
Okay.
So that's nice.
Yeah. Do you have the records with you? I know it's
Which
sold
one?
out.
The Goldovsko. Yeah, I have it. The cover. I don't know if everybody has seen it by now.
It looks amazing. I hope it looks even better in real life. But...
It looks great.
Yeah.
It also has the texture of the painting on it. Yeah, I can keep it as close, but I think my camera of my mic is a bit
Picking up a little.
co-release with Extra Conscious Records, which is the label of Jacob from Mare Cognitum.
Oh, okay.
That's him. And the vinyl is gold with black streaks. It's transparent.
Cool. Looks good.
All copies are colored.
There are records showing up in distro sites.
Yeah, records are on the way to Van Records, Hammer Fati, Unborn from Norway or Sweden. I never heard of it. Repose Records in UK. And His Wounds.
Oh, yeah. Good label.
Think that's it.
Was that a trade? The last one, His Wounds? Was that a trade or a...
Yeah, it was a trade. Yeah. He mailed me to get in Wunsch Records.
Oh, okay.
So from the box, I traded 5 or 6. And then I said, I also have Goldovstvo. Oh yeah, I listened to it. Yeah, I want it. I also have Alcradale. Oh, I want that one as well.
Did you get from...
became a nice trade.
What did you get from him?
I got Circle of Ouroboros, that last one from last year, but only one copy because it was almost sold out. But then I played my card like, I give you 6 of my last 20, no, at that moment 12 in Wunches, and I had to count all Goldovstvo records, so that was a close one as well. So that one, and then Old Nick.
Okay.
He has a new Old Nick, but he has such low quantities. A lot of it is sold out.
What's your opinion on Old Nick? Do you have an opinion?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I listened to one track. The record is coming on Phantom Lure next week, I think.
That's a Belgian label, right?
Yeah, it's a Belgian label. Funny story because he got to know me because we saw each other at the record store in Antwerp where I ship. He ships there as well.
Ah, okay.
And I saw someone with a black metal shirt and I couldn't read it. Couldn't read the logo. So I read the name below the image.
Yeah.
And I came home and I was looking for it. But it was Rolfried.
I know the name, but yeah.
It could have been in our episode of today because it's very raw black metal.
Yeah.
But I put it on. I didn't particularly like it.
It's the white cover, right? With the weird.
It's very. I remember green. It was a black shirt with a lot of green. They have a tape on Go to RX of that album.
Maybe
but then he must have asked the guy from the record store, who is that guy? Because I also probably was wearing black metal clothes.
So you never talked to the guy. You just Googled his shirt.
I never talked to him, and then I got a mail from Phantom Lure. Oh yeah, we have a new old Nick. Are you interested in getting copies? Blah blah blah. So I replied to him in English, and then he just replied in Dutch.
Well, okay.
Well, I also ship at that record store. And, oh, okay. So that's a funny story. It's a weird label. He does comfy synth and sometimes a black metal record.
Okay. Why not? I think we'll start here with raw black metal because we'll end maybe at Old Nick if you drag it out far enough.
Who knows?
What was your? Because you said you are not into the world of raw black metal as much.
No, I'm not. I'm not indeed.
I don't know if we have to define what black metal or raw black metal is in a sense, but
yeah, that's a good question because like the Kicked Arak, Night and Love, we discussed we would talk about.
Let's first maybe introduce the records or that.
Okay.
So the first one was the one you mentioned, the Kicked Arak, I think, with Night and Love. I have the tape version. The second one is self-titled by Garth Cross. Third one is Blood Washed Away the Grave Purity by Orgy of Carrion. Then Morass, Gates of the Voids. Two more, Obscuritatum with Vampirska Cacophania, I think. Cacophania. And then A Corpse at Temple by Black Lease, which we swapped out for Hand of Glory, I think. Because it was hard to find. Or the rips weren't good, or I don't know what.
Yeah, I had an MP3 version of Hand of Glory, but it sounded really like ripped from a tape, and it was like you know. And when I compared, there's a small part somewhere on YouTube, and when I compared the YouTube part to my MP3, the YouTube part sounded way much better.
Yeah, okay.
So it must be a bad tape rip.
Yeah, a draggy tape. Okay. So yeah, we took Black Sleaze. I think Boots haven't contacted me for this episode, and he said, "Why don't you do Black Sleaze before we switch it out?" And I said, "Yeah, you can go. I mean, you can choose a million bands, but Black Sleaze was maybe one episode." I think we chose these.
One of the more well-known, I think. Black Sleaze.
I think so too. Maybe in the parameters of what we call raw black metal since 2017, maybe, I don't know, 2016. I think Black Sleaze is one of the names that popped out or has risen above, and maybe it's due to the volume of the albums he has, but he has a lot of material that is good to very good, I would say. So yeah, we took these 5 or these 6 records just to have a true line, true genre, maybe with some a lot of more variation than I expected listening back to it.
They are not just each album of these has its own style, its own character, its own face.
Yeah, I was actually surprised listening because I was listening to raw black metal all of the time since 2017, I would say. Then I had a period that it faded away a bit because it was too big, getting too much, just too much releases, and I was just buying releases due to limitation, just buying stuff up and not listening. And then maybe half a year ago into the quarantine, I started listening again to records, and then when the guy from Hand of Glory died maybe 2 months ago now, I've just been listening to his stuff and branched out from there, and now I'm just maybe I'm listening for the first time since we're doing these podcasts and really paying attention to records. It's possible I'm really listening to some of these records for the first time, not just them on, talking about them in a video and then just filing them away. Maybe now is the time to listen to some really good records that are in my collection, I guess.
I have the same. It's been a while since I put on a record and really listened to it. And yesterday, I came home from putting the youngest kid of my girlfriend in bed, and the oldest one, who is 9, was here reading a book. And I just put on the EPs recently re-released from by Amafati from Nocturnity.
Okay.
And it hit me. I put it on a few times during work on a speaker, and it totally didn't do anything for me. And yesterday I put it on vinyl, and just then I sit with nothing to do in front of the speakers, and it's super good.
They're on my list, but once again, it's 4 records at the same time. quite an investment. But yeah, they will reach the collection sometime, I guess. We were talking, or you already started by the Kekt Akat. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's from the Ukraine. It's called Night and Love. So it is a 2-part album, if you will, and it's called Romantic Black Metal, or he self-describes this as Romantic Black Metal.
Is it a he?
Well,
the vocals sometimes I think it's a woman.
Possible. Looking at it, it's possible. Yeah, I have no idea. I've seen him visually because he has a internet presence, like many of these artists haven't, but he has one. He has a new record coming out called Fail.
Is it on Liever Martis?
Yeah, Fail Swordsman or something like that.
I saw it was a new one, but
yeah.
When I ordered vinyl copies and some more tapes, I saw he had a new one on pre-order.
I haven't heard that one. I think there's one track online somewhere. But he has the visual, so I don't know. He looks like a guy. I don't know.
Okay.
Since you said it, it looks like a girl, but I don't know. Music-wise, it goes from I listened to it. This one, I think, Sunday afternoon when I was
chilling.
Maybe the couch, sitting in the sun. My daughter was laying next to me, and I had headphones on, so I was half asleep. And I heard what popped out to me were the keyboards or the synths he uses very sporadically have the Dunkelheit sound that Bosom uses. But he doesn't use them in a sweeping way like many.
They're very subtle.
Very subtle and almost like dots that push forward to music. That was what grabbed me, and I think what I like about it, what I didn't like at first were the interludes because they were quite long and quite overbearing.
Listening, it's almost like a psychedelic 70s singer-songwriter.
Yeah,
I have a few of those records. Those Christian psychedelic songwriters from the 70s. Mm-hmm. And it kind of certainly the last track, the last 1 or 2 tracks are just very finger-picking guitar with very smooth singing.
I think that's the second to last track, because the last track is more of an outro. That Forever Night, Castle of Love.
I don't know the titles.
It's almost cheesy, that one.
Yeah, but it's actually really good.
Yeah. He has one of the.
Yeah, sorry.
He's one of the best aliases. He's called Crying Orc, which I really liked the first time I saw it. Just the combination. We talked about it already. Just him or her, whatever, out against that tree. So,
for me, it struck me as when you just said what is raw black metal. I don't know if this is raw black metal. The sound is it's lo-fi. It's not polished, but it's not per se raw. If you compare this to Obscuritatem, that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah,
and the songs, I wrote down one track. as the wounds gently bleed,
Mm-hmm.
it starts as almost like Transylvanian Hunger of Darkthrone, which is
Okay.
one of those typical second wave riffs.
Mm-hmm.
But then it has this sort of a break, and it's almost like a rock song. It could be a
Yeah.
break of, I don't know. Yeah, Foo Fighters is maybe a bit far fetched, but it really has this break, and it goes in a pop structure for like 5 seconds, and then it's back to the black metal riff, and it has this kind of things all over the record.
Yeah.
It's
I have
pretty cool.
I have
And
the same highlighted because for me it was a perfect combination of his acoustic whispering stuff, and then that track has a part that is just that acoustic stuff, just whispering over, and then it just dives into this, like you said, dark drone, but then maybe their hardcore punk, Circle the Wagons, Black Flag. It just has that stomp, so that juxtaposition of romantic sweet stuff, and then something like that comes in. It's kind of I think I called it a weird record before, and it's still a weird record. Just that combination of all the tracks, the interludes, and it reminded me even of Bari, for example, posh
Yeah.
isolation stuff. So some electronic music. Yeah, is it raw black metal? The kind of It's not a real genre per se. I think if you take raw black metal,
I don't know.
I I try to read some stuff and try to come to a conclusion, but I think raw black metal is just
Is it the music or is it the sound?
yeah. I It's production or intention. I call it. Is the intention
Yeah.
to or is the production raw? I think you have to the first raw stuff. Let's pick because first wave was also raw, but let's take second wave.
Yeah.
The people who are into raw black metal now worship mostly second wave, I would say. But then
I once posed a question on Order of the Black Arts, that Facebook group.
mhm,
I was listening to Nathan's Madrigal from Ulver,
yeah,
and I put there, is this the first raw black metal album? Because it really has the raw sound,
yeah,
and music wise, it's also just, it's not too complex. It's just in your face. Ticks a lot of the boxes for me. Of course, reactions came like, "Oh, Les Légions Noires in France were much earlier," and
yeah.
but just it never occurred to me that this was such a raw album.
Well, I think if you like you say Le Légion Noire is certainly a subpar or a not subpar, but I mean a section of raw black metal for those days. I think like the Norwegian scene went into stuff like Dimo Borgir, and then it went into that melodic, maybe mainstream black metal. And I think the 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 band or the person that pops up a lot, going back to raw black metal, is Iljarn, for example, and you hear him.
Yeah,
I think that's an artist that now has gets his credit. Maybe far to the interest in the subgenre like raw black. I think he was one of the torchbearers when they went into a melodic direction, the Norwegian band, and he just kept it going. But also from France, I mean, yeah, you have to really construct a timeline to see who was doing what at that point because I think Legion,
Iljarn also has a lot of um, dungeon synth albums.
yeah,
It's really, there are a bunch of CDs that's been re-released on Devil's Elixir Records,
mhm,
and I checked them because I was seeing should I get them in the shop or not.
yeah,
But it was all just synths, so I skipped. But I didn't know he had a lot of stuff like that. I'm not too familiar. I know he's punk black metal style,
yeah.
but I'm not too familiar with Iljarn all over,
Same.
or with Le Légion Noire.
Mm. You know the stalwarts like yeah, I don't know. Mutilation, for example, is one of those
Mm.
bands that has keystone records in that genre. Iljarn, yeah, there are a lot of you can say a lot of things that are influenced or influencing raw black metal, and it's hard to define where it started or define the genre.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
the Cake Arak really has I wanted to say advanced songwriting. I don't know if that's it, but it has just very captivating songs.
I think
They really draw you in, and not just because it's that raw atmosphere you drown in if you listen to it for long enough. It's really great songs. The bass has it's not just audible because the bass is very clean, no distortion, but it adds to the songs.
I think he pulls. I can't say what his influences are per se, but I think he pulls from more than just black metal. I know a lot of people do it, but it feels he has that sort of folky feel in some way. I don't know too much about Ukrainian folk music, but it has to be in there in some way. So I think
maybe that's also what I meant with the 70s psychedelic singer-songwriter. So maybe a bit those folky, hippie.
Yeah. Maybe. You can't say hippie in a raw black metal episode, but here we are.
Hey. I'm a hippie myself, so.
That's true. He meditates. I'm jealous of that. So yeah, the only thing that you can say or that we can pull out of the last 10 minutes is the intent versus production. I think is very important. That will come back in some of the examples we have. But I think for the Cake Akat, I think it gets lunched in with raw black metal mainly because of labels. Like Liber Mortis is mostly known for its raw black metal re-releases or releases. I think a lot of labels not pushed the genre or created the genre, but due to the fact that a label pops up, like maybe Go to Warwick's that support a lot of that stuff. Skill, which is the way or was my entry into that world. I think I heard Lampier first. That's the first raw black metal I heard. Because Utrecht was selling 7 inches and they had a black metal project. And it was demo 1 and 2, I think. So I got that. Then I dove into Orgy of Carrion and then it was just blown wide open. But yeah, labels like Perverse Homage, Skill, Sino Rex, Go to Warwick, those labels really pushed. I think without them wanting to per se push it, they pushed that sound forefront, I think. Yeah, where to go from there? Do we just do another record, I guess?
Yeah. The next one in my list,
No, go.
Yeah, the next one in my list is Obscuritatem, the Vampires Cacophonia.
Yeah, this has a few pressings on Go to Warwick's. This is the, I don't know, I've written it down because a lot of these albums are 2016, 17, 18.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just curious when the time period was because I did I wrote a little something for Boots Heaven and it was about compilations and all the compilations that I chose were from 2018, which was weird. One exception for one, but most were. So it's around that period that we have to, or was my period in this scene on my side. So yeah, this is the re-release from Go to Warwick. It is from 2018, but originally 2016. Yeah. This is.
I really like this one.
Yeah. On paper, it's a one-man black metal project. Like a lot of raw black metal is one-man project. But when you hear this, and I always thought I knew this record because I listened to it when it came out. I listened to it when I had it on vinyl. But I listened to it really for the first time, like I said, for this. And it had so much variation and so much more sound than I just realized.
And you often hear two vocalists at the same time. One is like the howling, like you have with Black Silis or Candelabrum, and another one is just some eerie,
more black
spoken word thing behind in the background.
A whisper. Yeah. It took me by surprise that it was so musical. And then when we talked about that World of Terror records, I'm blanking right now. They had another record that came out, not Gaza, but
Vetervrek. No?
yes. When we talked about that, because it's all Bosnian scene, I don't know who is in what band, but when we talked about that one, I was saying that they were coming out of their raw period and becoming more musical, and the production was getting better. But listening back to this, I was kind of in the dark about how well produced it actually was. The layers within the raw or within the noise.
Yeah, the only thing raw about this is it's a bit silly to say, but it has a really harsh guitar sound, almost noise.
Yeah, it has that.
And the howls are really over the top.
Yeah.
But you can hear everything, which is also, I wanted to say important. It's not per se important, but for this music, because it's very there's a lot of variation.
Yeah.
And it's very well thought, the music, the songs. And that's what surprised me about this one.
You have to give them credit, that crew or that bunch of people, because it couldn't be more than 10 people in that scene or in that, on all those bands. They don't have too many stinkers in that club, record wise. I mean, it's insane what they put out or bring out. And speaking about a versatile record, it even has a solo and I never heard that one.
Yeah.
Has a guitar solo.
In I wrote it down.
In a knock and then something more.
Chigna Nok, Ayos, Chigna Yama.
Something
I
like that.
I wrote down the track before that. It starts Viechna Tishina. Starts with the plucking guitar or finger picking. How do you say it?
Yeah.
It's very atmospheric with great howling vocals. And then you have the next track. It starts mid tempo, really the dragging mid tempo black metal.
Almost
with
like
some
the same at that point.
With some declamating vocals, and those are backed by screams, by desperate screams, and then it goes in tuka 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 in that kind of part,
which I love.
With indeed a solo, but not just some stupid solo, but really
it sounds
an energizing solo, which really lifts the track.
That's the point I think when you see them live, I never had the pleasure, but when you see them live and you have 2 beers in and then that solo comes, that's the point you'll remember, I think, and that's it.
It has a lot of variation. It has slow parts, fast parts within the album, within the songs. Sometimes the noisy guitar in the fast parts, it's hard to follow, but you have the eerie chanting in the background.
I was listening to one of the
some
tracks.
Weird song structures. That's a lot. Rock and roll drums, I even wrote down.
Yeah, the drums. That's what I was going to talk about, because in the second track, there is a part where you just completely lose yourself in the guitar and the layers of the vocals. And then just at the point when you think, now it's falling apart, then the drum breaks through. So is that coincidence, or is that
I don't think so.
No, it has to be.
I don't think so.
It's weird. It's very weird. So yeah,
I do have one record of them. The Ukralievstvu.
Oh yeah.
I do have it. Never listened to it a lot, but I know I never took it away. I never did it away.
Yeah, they're a band too. Yeah, I spoke about, because they had 2 releases, I think, during the pandemic, if you will, after the summer, and I have 2 releases waiting on me from them because it was too heavy at the time. But now listening to this, which is supposed to be their heavy or their most creepiest record or evil record, whatever, I'm curious to see or to hear what the rest is sounding like.
The 2 new ones, the Split with Rape.
No, it's previous one. I think there's one compilation that came out. I don't know if I'm going to find them. Give me a minute.
Is it an old one that was Pro Officio Mortuorum? Is it that one? No.
I'm getting there. So yeah, there's this one.
Yeah.
And it's not a new one. I think it's all re-releases. And then there's the Natronu Smidley, I think, something like it. This one. I'm sure this is a compilation. This is
But is it from a few weeks ago?
No. This was from.
Okay.
This is on Black and Green. This one. And I'm pretty sure the other is too, actually.
I have the Pro Officio Mortuorum.
Yeah,
that's one I recently bought, and the split with Grave.
Yeah. You have the split also on vinyl?
I have a copy myself. I don't have it for sale.
Too bad.
If I don't like it, I will sell it.
So the record we were talking about.
Yeah. That one I heard some parallels between this one and the Cake Tarak because of the difference between what you expect it to be and what it really is.
Well,
because it's not just some dumb, well, let's do something. No, it's really
there's thought behind it.
Yeah. A lot, and with Cake the Rack also a lot of the riffs really touch me in a way. Yeah, it has an emotional aspect to it.
Okay.
The Cake the Rack, which the Obscuritatum, it's great music, but it's not. I don't lose myself in the riffs.
It's not romantic.
No, yeah, okay. I was also wondering with Cake Tarak, night and love. It's not night and day, or it's not love and hate. No, it's night and love. But
I always forget their name or his name or her name, whatever. So when I look it up in Discogs or I have to pull it up, I always write night and love, and it's the only thing that shows up. So it never weird that it never was put together by the Bee Gees or something like that. Yeah, I guess. The next one you chose Obscuritatum. I'll choose. Let's see. Let's talk Portugal with Black Celise. This is A Corpse, a Temple. I'm not sure if it's first, second, or third full length. It has been too long.
It is the first full length. We have A Corpse, a Temple, then Summoning the Night, and then Mysteries.
All right. Year-wise, I wrote down it came out in 2011.
Yeah, indeed.
This is the 2015 pressing. So.
On which color?
Oh, no, black. I think all my Black Celise is black.
Okay.
Yes.
Not baby blue like mine.
Not the baby blue. He has some weird releases. Also, those Pasted On covers. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
No.
Yeah. They have just like a black cover, and then someone cut out a print and just pasted it on. So you have this just sticker going over it. I'm not sure if it's this one or the other two full lengths. This is limited to 300 for those who care.
Yeah, but there are a lot of pressings, no? Of those records.
I love how Iron Bonet did the pressings of Black Celise, because the last two records, I think, they just had pressings ready to go. They just put on the black sold out, put on the white sold out, and then just rolled it out. So I think that's something.
6 pressings on Iron Bonet alone.
Yeah, there you go. That's something that raw black metal has a problem with, because there's a lot of one-man bands, but there are more one-man labels, I think. I don't think people understand that if you sell 100 records, just like we talked about in the beginning, you have to send out 100 records. And I don't know, the time that creeps into something like that, knowing most people have 1 or 2 extra jobs. I always see a lot of people complaining, oh, you just press 100 or this or that, but I don't know. It kind of makes...
Yeah, I also think it's a bit stimulating the FOMO, and people buy it, and then they have, okay, we made it to the finish line, let's never press it again.
Yeah.
That's part of the, and you have a few labels who don't do it, like Aaron Bonet, but yeah, yes, I think he has a lot of means to he has enough money to have pressings and to maybe be left with some stock of some records.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, I know Altara does re-releases if needed. Like Obscuritatum, the one I have, there's a black one and there's a white one. Or the Wagner Odegaard on Cosmos. There's a black one and it was sold out, and there's already a blue one as well. So.
Yeah. But I think the labels we're talking about, something like Alter maybe, which is not the biggest label, but has the means to do that. But yeah, sometimes you just have the money to press 100 and there is no more. I mean, there is no more. I think when your label grows, it forces you to do, like, Grondwerk was a label that never did represses, but they have repressed some of the stuff just because, it is so into vogue maybe, or people want it. Like Commodus, for example, had represses. I think Grondwerk represses on there. So I hear a lot of people complaining within the genre or within the social media aspect of raw black metal, but I don't. Yeah, people don't think about what's behind the record or how many work creeps into a record for a label.
Yeah.
I try
even just something silly like sometimes a week before the release, I think, I almost have no mailers left, and I have to order mailers.
There you go.
And I even once saw a message from Terratur Possessions when Van didn't do their distribution. Almost all records are shipped, but we're out of mailers, so we have to wait for those.
It happened.
But it's it happens indeed. It's a lot of work.
We never talked about Black Celeste, actually. We talked about the pressing. It is a Portuguese one-man, for all intents and purposes, black metal band or a black metal project.
Is it known who is in the band or not?
I gave up looking who is in what band because it ruined it in some parts for me. But when I was looking into it, the only thing I almost certainly know is that he is also the guy behind Candelabrum, for example.
Those bands are indeed, in my ears, they're linked as well.
Yeah, I think they are the forerunner for the Portuguese scene, maybe a bit. There probably are a ton of other bands that I'm blanking on right now that came before him, but that raw, cavernous howling, that howling, windy, muffled scream he does, together with all the layers and layers of his and vocals. Not as much as Carved Cross, but still a lot of layers. It just drowns in echoey, cavernous black metal. But it's weird in a sense that the first time I heard that stuff, I wasn't into it at all. It's definitely a sound that had to grow on me through the years, I guess, because now when I hear the records and I ran through the full lengths again for this, they speak to me more now than they did a year ago even. Yeah. I think it's one of the better projects from the Portuguese scene because some of the bands I really don't get into, like Boomlet, for example, I can get into. I have to try, but
okay. I lost you at one of the better projects, and then you just for me it didn't click. I never listened to it much, but it didn't really click except for Banished from Time.
That was
that's the standout. The last one is Transfixion of Spirits.
Yes.
Which I never listened to, but Banished from Time is the only one I have in my own collection. But also there, you have to invest some time. Yeah, that one. That's the one I have on Baby Blue.
I think mine's black. Yeah, like they all are.
But like Candelabrum, I put it on the first time and I immediately liked it.
Yeah.
Also, not everything. You have the Gathering compilation of Candelabrum, and that's one I never bothered to put in my own collection.
Okay.
But the Portals and the one before, which one? Which you have one after this?
That's the Gathering, and this is the first one, Necrotelepathy.
Yeah, that one. When I heard it first time, I was really sold.
Same. This got me into Black Celeste, actually. I knew Black Celeste first, but when I heard this was more of the sound that I was looking for. They are very similar, but they are not the same. I went retrograde with this.
Black Celeste is the up-tempo version, and Candelabrum is the really atmospheric.
Yeah. This is on Altar. Pressed on Altar Records.
Yeah.
Which, they have some. If you look at that roster, Jesus Christ, they already have some.
They were also the very first label to reach out to Turia. So that's why they have done Dor and Dedekondre.
But isn't the guy from Altar also on Roadburn every year? I think he was.
I have no idea.
I think I once heard of it. I'm not sure. Maybe they hooked up there.
I don't know. I think Yarvin once told me they just got a message from him. Yeah, I really like your music. I want to put it out.
Okay. Yeah. So he did.
And it's the last because there are also like 3 or 4 represses of the old Turia stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is much better quality. I think it has a reverse board print, especially the jackets. The jackets of the first versions were really, really crappy.
I don't remember actually.
They're like very shiny, almost like they're printed instead of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't.
Printed in a print shop instead of professionally made, something like that. Yeah, it's just something. And they have, those inner sleeves are like those almost plasticky ones with a lot of static and electricity, and you have to really pull the record out.
I know they had a period, and it was around that time, maybe a bit earlier, that they did some weird stuff. I know I have a Mons Veneris record, and they have this, once again, just a black cover, and they pasted something on, but it's like, when you put on glue in kindergarten and you have that liquid glue and you just put on a little too much, they have that. So the entire paper is like waved and crinkled. They're all like that. Everyone. So, yeah, I guess the starting days for Altar. I think the only thing that stood out for me, Black Celeste wise, was the repetitiveness of the riffs, the drums, and the constant. Because it doesn't have too many, variations in tempo or sound. It comes back a little in speed sometimes, but just the repetitiveness, it's just constant crashing again into your brain, and that gives it that hypnotic feeling, maybe. Just repetition.
Yeah, my attention drifted away during listening to the album.
It becomes it becomes more of one big piece, although there are different tracks, but it's just, a maelstrom of I don't know, dirgy black metal.
Yeah, I was also working. I was packing records and stuff, but that doesn't help, of course.
You know if there are lyrics?
I have no idea. I
don't-
think I thought that. Is he singing real lyrics or not? At the very beginning of the record, he had those.
There's
I was wondering.
there's thank you list, but there are never lyrics. So, is it? I was wondering if it was just sound he produced to
Yeah.
be an extra instrument, but when you read his thank you list and his, how they talk about the project, it seems the lyrics are too important not to have them, but to not share them, then I don't know. It just becomes another layer in the stew that is Black Release, I guess. But yeah, cool record nonetheless.
This is the. When you said like Obscuritatem, never caught them live. I didn't even know it was a live band. For me, all these are one or two people bands. That's what I always think. I don't know if that's the case, but I did see Black Silis.
Oh yeah, you went to.
I saw them at
Ireland.
Never Surrender.
Yeah.
In Berlin.
Oh, okay.
It was weird. They had the cleanest guitar sound of the whole festival.
Weird.
So that was very, very weird to see the whole atmosphere created by the sound was totally absent.
In the entire set. It never showed up.
No.
Weird.
They had the clearest sound of the whole fest.
The only thing I ever saw were videos from. They did a smaller gig around that time in Holland, I think.
It was longer ago, I think. I know with Undergronds, we once got offered a gig from them, but neither me or Jan knew the band. Then we said, no, don't want it.
Probably the right call because there would be 10 people in it.
I don't know. No idea.
No. I'm drowning a bit in releases here. We still have to talk about 3 more.
A lot. Yeah, 3 more indeed.
Let's talk about Orgy of Carry On first, because that can go pretty quickly. I don't know, depending on what you feel about it. This was put out to Skill. Lasse got me into a lot of good bands just from talking to him, just from being early with that label. I just started talking to him some, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years ago. And then it turned out he was the guy behind Skill. So I just got him from him. I never had to put too many effort into him sending me this. I traded a lot of Tintin or Keufje stuff for Skill records because he was heavily into Keufje. Yeah. Unfortunately, he passed not that long ago. It seems long, but it's not. So yeah, rest in peace, Lasse. This is Blood Washed Away the Grave Purity, a 2-track, I would say a full length because there are very lengthy tracks. One is the title track and one is called Warrior's Dawn. I think if you speak about the embodiment of raw black metal, intent or production-wise, for me, what comes closest overall is Orgy of Carry On. They say it themselves in the liner notes that is not actually music. I'm not sure where it is.
What is music, Tom? What is music? What is art?
It's in here somewhere. But yeah, it's basically that raw black metal has a lot of that burn this after listening to it, fuck everybody, kill everything. This band had that the most I ever saw. Yeah, playing their music, not music, but yeah. It is.
It's funny you call it the pinnacle of raw black metal, because for me, I hear a lot of death metal riffing.
Yeah.
Like Grave Miasma or Necros Christos, stuff like that. Those slow haunting death metal riffing. That's something I hear in this, and also the guitar sound is very kind of a It has a lot of body, the guitar sound. It's not high pitched. It's kind of low pitched actually, which
For what
makes
it
it
is,
very different from the rest.
yeah. Once again, the variety between these records and the listenability of these records really took me by surprise. Just preoccupations I had going into raw black metal to these
Yeah,
records.
same.
It was, yeah.
That's why we're doing this, because I said it's all the same. It's not folks.
I haven't written too much down about Orgy of Carrion. They were, like I said earlier, one of the bands that really got me into the genre. The guy who is into this band or who is in this band, one of the guys also has the Perverse Homage label, which was the Twilight, I think, a tape label or a CDR label that just, yeah, I think combined have more than or around 200 releases, just all American or mostly American raw black metal. Yeah, stuff like Wire's Blood, which is a side project, if you will, one of the guys or maybe both guys. It's all very good. I think Wire's Blood maybe for me even more listenable or more enjoyable than Orgy of Carrion. Because why I said this is the true embodiment of both the intent and the production. I noticed listening to these records that I can put them on when there's anybody with me. So Inherit is a very antisocial music. It's not just something you put on, when you have people over or when you're enjoying beers. It's, I think, raw black metal more than any of the subgenres or genres is, very antisocial, or I feel it as very antisocial music, and it's very, the
But
way
it also needs your attention. You can't have a chat while with this on the background, and then
then
then it just becomes noise, background noise.
Yeah. I think if we learn anything from these podcasts is that you have to actually listen to the music.
Yeah.
Think about the music. But yeah, it's one of the genres that I can put on. And I had some nights that I just put on a record and that not that I did you ever get scared by music live or just a record? Like you hear people talk about when The Exorcist came out, we were all scared in the cinema or record.
Yeah, not something I can really remember right now. My nephew had it with Tolkien Knox from Impaled Nazarene. That I was out at night and I had it on my headphones and it was really, you have those fucking goats and those weird sounds and noises. Don't know if I ever got scared of music. Don't think so.
Me neither, I think, but the nights that it could have happened is when I listened to some of those records, I think. Having some beers, doing some other stuff, maybe. Getting into, I don't know, getting into my head, I guess. But
I do get uncomfortable
yeah.
if there's whispering. It's really silly. Even like there's a Tricky record, the one that followed Blowback. Blowback was a bit of a popular record for Tricky. The one that followed, it's a white one with yellow on the cover, and there are some tracks where he whispers, and it that gives me the creeps actually.
Okay. When someone whispers.
Yeah, no idea why, but it's whispered, but it's on high volume. And if I listen to it through a headphone, it's like, yeah, I get chills.
It's more personal all of a sudden.
Yeah, don't know why.
I like when not with the Kektatak, but those kind of whispery stuff, and then they play with the depth in your listening perception. So you hear someone whispering here, and then you hear something way in the back talking, and it's like someone. That's always crazy. All right. I don't know where we. Oh yeah, Orgy of Carrion. Yeah. It is what it is, I guess. I think Perverse Homage.
I wrote down great riffing. Yeah, really great riffing. Mm-hmm. Very fitting sound. Yeah, not a thin guitar, but a bit of low and body. It does have shrieking vocals like Vetevrek, Candelabrum, and the likes.
Yes. But not that howling. Yeah, maybe not that much howling stuff, but that shriek, definitely.
Yeah. And then, yeah, death metal riffing, but also second wave riffing.
I didn't pick up the death metal riffing. That's something I have to re-listen, I guess.
Maybe it's also because of the lower sound.
It's possible.
And when they have those. Can I get an example top of my head? Yeah, not really, I think, but I will let you know.
Yeah. Right, we have two more. One is like some people call it, modern classic, and one is from Australia. The first one is Morass.
One is a modern classic and one is of Australia.
So,
are they mutually exclusive? Or?
I don't know. The first one is Gaze of Void by Morass from Finland. This record is from, I have written it down, it's from 2017, but this is the 2018 final release of that. True Archaic Memories, a label that came out at the same time. I think Lieber Mortis popped this or reared his ugly head on sides. Yeah, this is not as prolific as Lieber Mortis, this label. It started as a tape label and then it went into vinyl. Morass is one of the most, I think, elusive figures within the black metal scene, just because there aren't that many releases. I have no idea what other bands he is in or what other stuff he is doing. There was a rumor that this was the guy from Lieber Mortis himself. That's the only thing I ever heard about it. But yeah, this Gaze of Void record, a lot of people love this record to death. So do I. But let's hear your 2 cents.
Yeah, my first listen was in the car. Somehow I listen a lot to the Obscuritatum while driving to the record store in Antwerp. Like it's a 20-minute drive and 20 minutes back, something like that. And that's where Obscuritatum really got me. Morass, while listening in the car, it did absolutely nothing for me.
Okay.
Because a lot of details get lost, and then it's just a classic, like the 2 chords, always 2 chords, just going over and over. But when I listen to it on the headphone, yeah, it has a lot more detail to it than I discovered in the car.
I think
so. It did get me after all, and that was something I noticed yesterday. I think I was packing records, and I had all these records, just all of them in a playlist, and the playlist on repeat. And I was listening, and I thought, oh yeah, now that riff comes, and it was the third track of Morass. There's this high-pitched riff somewhere, and that's where I noticed, oh, this music really sticks.
Yeah, it jumps out at you at some point.
Yeah, which surprised me.
I think of all of the records we talked about today, I think Gaze of the Void has that pulled into because like Black Celeste also has that cavernous thing, but you have the howls that just give it the accents or that pulls it out of that murky shit a bit. But I think Morass, the entire production is just buried into a thick layer of that fuzz that's thrown on to make it raw in production, maybe more as an intent if you want to call it that. But it's all on the
no aspect of the sound is too extreme.
No,
it's all together, and they pull it all down together. Or
it's
not like we have super harsh guitars or we have the drums we put in super far in the background. No, it's nicely balanced sound.
Yeah, it has that muffled sound, but it's all in that muffled sound. It doesn't have the sound over here, the singer way over there.
Yeah,
it starts off with the drums a bit buried too much for my taste, I guess. But midway through the record, I think track 3, maybe like you say, they come right out, and I think it's very clear. The thing I like most about it is that, for example, the Black Celeste has that push that just keeps on going. The track starts and it just riffs all throughout. This has that burst of energy, but then there's more dynamic within the song or within the song structure, maybe that just keeps it a little bit more interesting, I think, than a Black Celeste track, for example. Yeah, I like his vocal tone. He has this higher vocal tone, and then there are these almost croaky vomiting in the background vocals that come through. So yeah, I don't know. The first time I heard this record, I liked it immediately, just because the first time was a headphone listen. I don't know who recommended it to me, but it just popped up on that label. To call something a classic is weird within the genre, maybe, but it's one of the records that I immediately chose when we pulled the 6 records out. So
every genre has its classics. No?
True. I think for people because these records are quite hard to get, and sometimes I think the price went down a bit on the second-hand market. Liber Mortis had this handy Vandescent Ceremonies in Obeisance to the Unsung. The title is a mouthful, but it's a 2-tape box set that just compiles everything he did with some tracks that never went to press or went to tape. I think it's still in stock at Archaic Memories, but I'm not sure. It's been a while. But if you can get your hands on this, you just have one nifty box with everything in it, which is a perfect way to. The sound is also good on tape. Do that. We have one more.
Yeah, the Carved Cross.
I saved my best for last. The self-titled on Overuse. Year-wise, let's see, 2017. So they're all around the same mark, late. 2016, 17, 18. This is the Overuse edition, like I said, of this record. I'm not sure what got repressed where, but I think this came out on Go to War, I think. The re-release.
Carved Cross. Go to RX did it as well.
Go to War, yeah. With a nice obi, of course.
Probably.
Yes. We talked about letting go of preconceptions a bit earlier. This is the band that I had the worst preconception ever about, I think, because I always thought this was a raw black metal band, and in a sense, they very much are. But they are, within that genre, they are something very special, in my opinion, just because of the fact that they are so slow. They are crawling, even, I guess.
Isn't it more? I had a suicidal black metal connotation while listening to this.
I had a drone connotation listening back to it. I always was looking for black metal, but it is so drony, and it's not drony in the bass part, but it's drony on the, I think, on the treble part, something like that. Where the guitars and the drums vibrate. Kind of has a drone. There's a hiss layer. There's a guitar layer. There's the drums that give the accents on the guitar to make an extra layer, and then the vocals are another layer. So it's like 4 layers compressed into one, and just, I don't know, it's slow crawling dirge, but then with black metals slowly layered on top of them. So they are a weird thing, still in my book. I don't know how you felt about listening.
Sometimes I like it when I put it on, and sometimes I don't. This is one I maybe put on the most because how long does it take? 30 minutes, 35?
Like that, under, I think.
And I think I listened to it for 2.5 to 3 hours straight on repeat.
Okay.
And then you have it starts and it's like the tacky drum. Don't know how to say it, but and then
There maybe.
it just keeps on going. Not really a lot happens.
No.
And it kind of also tries to mimic an emotion, melancholy maybe,
Yeah.
or the something depressive is maybe not the best term, and it works. But a lot of the times I listen to it, I think the melodies outstay their welcome because it's like almost the whole track is the same.
Yeah,
But then the second track starts with just with the drums, and that's always this part.
right. Yeah.
And then sometimes it I thought, oh, it has really grown on me. But then next time I put it on, it was like, nah. Especially when it's in the complete mix.
Yeah.
With 5 albums, Black Silas wasn't in there. It was sometimes it I liked it, and sometimes it was like, it's not something I would go and sit down for, I think.
Yeah, like I said, it's still a weird band in my music collection. I don't think I put them on too often, but when I do, it's to listen to it. It's definitely a band you don't put on to just have a conversation over. But it's weird that in comparing it to the other records, is that it has more in common with something like a Black Talise than it has. I always had this Tasmanian, Australian black metal connotation with it, but it's something very different. But that entire scene is very different. I think they have these few people that form, I think, Overuse. I think I can call them Overuse records. Everything that falls under that. They have electronic records, they have techno records, they have noise records, they have black metal, they have carved cross, which is a genre on itself, I think. But yeah, they are so talented in all those genres. They even have like Fixations, a hardcore band, which is very worth checking out. All those things, just a lot of quality, and it's weird that such a small group has such variation in sound, and it's not all gold, but it's all very, very good too. Like carved cross. The
musically, it sometimes reminds me of early Urfaust, because they also have these special kind of melodies. But then the early Urfaust tracks are a lot shorter, and they have more than 1 or 2 melodies per 20 minutes. No, but that's also the slow drumming is also something that reminded me of Urfaust.
It has that same cadence in repetition and just head nodding, almost hypnotic sound to it. The thing that I wanted to recommend out of that scene or out of that crew is Forbidden Citadel of Spirits. I'm not saying it's all the same members, but I guess 1 or 2. This is collection 1 and 2 of their demo material, and it's all. I mean, it's definitely worth checking out if you are into raw black metal. So Australian black metal. And then 2 I got from their distro. 1 is called Night and Funeral by Black Twilight. I'm not sure if Night and Funeral are the sides of the record, but Black Twilight is the band for the playlist. And then 1 that I definitely recommend, and maybe is my favorite raw black metal record, is this one. It's called Black Putrescence, and this is a compilation. But as far as I can see, this is the only thing they ever released. So it is Australian, I know that. It is very raw, and there's a very weird and various production on separate tracks. So it's, I think, compilation of demos and stuff like that. And it has maybe the worst black metal picture ever, which is that one. Face.
What is it? A snake?
What
does he have in his mouth?
it's a chain, but the man looks like a snake. Look at that.
Is it just called? Is it the album just called Black Putrescence?
It's called Black Putrescence 2002, and it's a compilation of demo material. So it has demo 1 from 2002, Nightmare Exorcism, and then 2 promos. So that's all I know. From 2002. I'm not seeing a album title.
Yeah, it's just on Metal Archives. It's just called Black Putrescence.
If you can get your hands on it, it's worth checking out. But that's all. I don't think members of Carcross are in this band, but I got it from Overuse. So from Australia, there is probably a connection there. But yeah, that was the entire lineup for us. I think we went through them all.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Raw black metal. Who knew?
I have to say, if I ever come across an Obscuritatum or maybe even Orgy of Carrion or Morass records, I would be inclined to buy them. The Black Silis one, not at the moment. Carved Cross, neither. Kick Tarek, I have.
I like it so much that I'm willing to buy the record again just to sell the tape because I actually like it a lot more than I was expecting.
Okay. I'm out of vinyl, so
that was my next question. So thanks for answering.
They were gone pretty quickly. While it was 26 euro, which is not cheap for just a record in a fold.
Yeah, that label's never cheap, but sometimes it's worth it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all in all that was a nice encapsulation of raw black metal. We can go on and on. I think if you want to talk beginnings, why is Beherit not raw black metal or called raw black metal? It has that production. It is far enough into it, but
yeah, it's too bassy, the production.
Maybe, but it's raw.
Yeah, it's true. But then you have the genre definition or what people make of it.
What people make of it, I think, because if you start in metal archives, you can just put in raw black metal, and then you have a million raw black metal. Yeah,
it's like post black metal. For me, it started out like black metal, but bands that take the atmosphere of black metal and just make very dark music. Like Twilight, for instance. The second Twilight album.
Is that with Jeff Whitehead and the guy from Creed?
Yeah, and with Aaron from ISIS.
Yeah, I know Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth that played on a Twilight record, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's the third one, if they have a third one.
Twilight, black metal, United States. The Monument to Time End. It has. If you listen to it, you think, oh, it's black metal, but it has nothing to do with Dark Throne or anything like that. But for me, I always thought that was post black metal. Like you take, like post rock is just you take some parts from rock and you expand them.
Yeah,
and then you have post rock. But now people like post black metal for me is you take elements of black metal like the atmosphere or maybe the vocals or the haunting aspect of it.
Yeah,
and then you do something with it, which is not the same. But a lot of people think post black metal is black metal mixed with post rock, like Alcest is post black metal, or Wolves in a Throne Room.
Even something like F Heaven is considered post black metal.
Yeah,
because it
for me the genre didn't start like that.
No, but yeah, genres. I know that 2 years ago maybe, or it was 2 years ago, you have the Spotify end of the year list, like what have you been listening to, what genres have you been listening to the most. And I know everybody in our circle that had Spotify was listening to Void Gaze a lot. Nobody ever knew or ever heard of Void Gaze, and then all of a sudden it was there. And in a weird way, it actually like there was something like Mare Cognitum was in there, but also Bloed als Noord was in there maybe, or I don't know, something like Alcest maybe was in there. It was all just post metal, but Void Gaze sounded a bit better. Like it was the stupidest thing ever.
People are chatting a lot about Koldovstvo now, and
Yeah.
also the genres in reviews. It's black gaze,
Black Gaze, there you go.
because it's yeah. I don't know what to call it myself. I just call it black metal, I guess.
I have heard the snippet, and now I'm eagerly awaiting the vinyl. Yeah, that brings us into the second part of the show. I guess we are 1 hour 20 minutes in. The playlist, or what we have been listening to now. It is pretty clear we were in a certain mood for this episode. So I think mine pretty much.
I listened a lot to these bands we just discussed, to these albums.
I think since yesterday I dropped these records just because they were becoming a bit much, maybe because we've been listening for 1.5 weeks, maybe 2 weeks to these releases. So since yesterday I started to plunder my wish list on Bandcamp, and I have a few things. It is mainly in the same line of raw black metal, but it's just some new stuff. You want to go first, or do you have some?
Yeah, I have a few things I've been listening to. Trh, it's TRH and then an A with a cream on it.
Wait a minute. It is
and TREHE, and they have 2 albums, an EP and an album. You have Nove Calnieno, which rocks. It's really it's I don't know how to describe it. The other one, Venlanech, there's a bit of Burzum references. It also has these long keyboard parts in it. But the Nove Calnieno, it really rocks, and it's really, really a solid release. And I was trying to contact them in any way possible, which according to me is only by clicking contact the band on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
To ask for a vinyl release, but an American label is doing it already. I never got answer. I just heard through the grapevine an American label is doing it.
Right.
And the same with Ancient Mastery. I saw it pass somewhere on Facebook, Ancient Mastery, and I put it on. It was like, okay. A lot of keyboards, lot of late 90s influences, Dimo Borgir, all stuff like that. But then the third track came, and it was, it's on the perfect edge between genius and cheesy.
Is it the power metal stuff?
Yeah, it's kind of. It also has some summoning vibes in it.
Oh yeah.
It's summoning, and also sometimes if it becomes too elfish, or I'm a huge summoning fan, but they walk a very thin line.
It's a band I'm blissfully unaware of.
Really? It's one of the albums, stronghold for me. I was reading Lord of the Rings in English, but I never read a book in English by that time. So when it's 1,000 pages, it's very small letters. And my habit was to smoke a joint. Smoke a joint and then put my headphones on with Stronghold from Summoning, and then start to read.
Right.
And it starts with these. For me, it's sort of a military march. But it starts somewhere in the background. and it becomes louder, and then you have those keys beneath it, and that intro will for me forever be linked to Lord of the Rings.
And to think we started off with a crying orc. We're full circle and we have to talk about music.
No, but Ancient Mastery, it's going to be released on Dead Cult.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Please send me the links because I have to put them into the. I have been listening to Haunt a lot in the last 2 days because Le Fleur du Mal. They released a few of their tapes, but they have now announced a full length by them, Obsessed by Death, it's called, for 2021. I have been listening to their self-titled.
What's it called? Haunts?
Haunt, as in Haunt, like a haunting. Okay. And then their Grimoires of an Undead Power. For me, a great embodiment of the raw, both in intention and production. The first one, the self-titled, it's a good mix between first wave and second wave, mainly in the vocals. It has that, there's a here and there. The second one is almost purely second wave, Burzum, Aske influenced style. It's all dead worship. It's every track has to do with that. They are deep in bones and stuff like that. Yeah, I was always interested in their sound and their band. They also were on the USBM compilation that Le Fleur du Mal did, which is also a very good and worthwhile tape if you can get your hands on it. A lot of, just good American bands that otherwise you would have missed, I guess. On a Canadian label, but very good. Haunt, what did I write down? Yes, from 2017 once again, and the second one is also 2017. So I don't know. That's it. Yeah, they're from Salem, so it has that witch connotation too.
I also listened to Rospat of CERM.
What are these?
Also, it's a Russian guy.
Yeah.
And I also would very much like to do a vinyl release of that one, but I heard that he's not interested in having his release on vinyl.
Okay.
So I mailed him a second time yesterday just to you never know. But it's like really well produced black metal.
Okay.
Maybe a bit something between Schäger and more with a slight industrial feeling in it. Yeah, don't know how to put it, but it's very, very tightly played.
Okay.
Well produced, but it's really, really, just really, really great songs, great melodies, great everything. One of the tracks also reminds me of the second to last track, Dementia, reminds me of Koldovstvo a bit.
Okay. But then with an industrial punch to it.
Yeah, industrial is not the right thing, but it's like maybe it's very cleanly and meticulously produced, which gives it a kind of a mechanic sound. That's also not really the thing, but just listen to it and maybe you'll know what I mean.
All right.
Well, Koldovstvo really sounds kind of fuzzy and warm. This sounds very clinical. It's really, really a great release.
Okay.
SVRM.
SVRM. I have a. It seems like we are on the same level again because I have something that is industrial too, but not overly industrial. There is a new label from the UK which has a, in my opinion, now blossoming black metal scene. With a label once again like that called Productions, which is really pushing the scene with a store like Crypt of the Wizard, which is giving visibility to that scene. There is a new label called Cold Beach. I don't know if
Yeah,
you.
I heard of it.
I got a sticker from them. I don't know from who, but it was Varg from Burzum with a hipster cap on, and it just had Cold Beach, and it was with a girl at a party. Weird sticker. So I just filed it away. So I was looking for it, but I can't find it. Then all of a sudden, it was a label. They have now two releases. One is called Odious Hiss, is the band, and the title is Adherence to the Forbidden Divination. It is an EP. It has two tracks, and it has. If I have to describe it, and bear with me, I just heard them for the first time today. Both of these records. If I had to describe it as like Nine Inch Nails light black metal, if that makes sense. It has that industrial. It has that industrial drone, but once again, like you said, maybe it's something that's industrial. Maybe one instrument, maybe the drums. I'm not sure. Maybe the guitar tone. But it's a very good two-tracker. The records have this obi strip for the record nerds. Have this obi strip that is tied with a string in the back, so it's all a very weird record, very weird label. The second one is called Old Rich, and that is a full length, if I'm not mistaken, with ascetic involation. I'm not sure if that's pronounced correctly. That record is. I heard one track, but it's 20 minutes, and I thought I was listening to the entire record because within that track, there's so much happening. It's hard to put my finger on it. The first thing I heard was something like Bloed aus Noord, but I'm pretty sure that if I listened to it now, I wouldn't hear it at all. It has, yeah, it has so much going on. It has ambient passages that dive into some more new Norwegian sound, maybe like Tertuk sounds, parts there. I hear some Bolzer, and then knowing that I was, or thinking that I was listening to the full record, and that compiled into the first track, really makes this a record that I think a lot of people will enjoy if they can keep it up. Sorry, and the rest of the track, but yeah, once again, old rich with I think ascetic involation, but it's probably all in the info below here. And it's Cold Beach. Yeah, it's 1 and 2, so it's the very first released by them. They have distribution. I think New Era had them. Crypt of the Wizard definitely has them. And there's a black version and a clear version of both. So
Yeah.
nice rollout for a new label. Yeah. That was my 1 and 2. I think I have one more that I can be very quick about, and that's Maleficent. A US black metal project that made some fuss, I think, in the last year, maybe 2 years. Everything is out on Oscar. I have 0 records by them, but I think one of their records, I think the last full length was in a lot of end of year lists, and that's what made it pop up onto my radar.
Yeah, I've seen it pass.
Yeah, I've been listening ever since. I think he has 2 or maybe an EP full length and a split or something like that. But yeah, one man, let's call it raw black metal from America. But yeah, that was my stuff. Do you have one more?
I don't think so. I really listened to the records we discussed a lot.
Yeah.
The soundtrack of Twin Peaks, the double LP, but the one with not with the tunes written for Twin Peaks, but with songs used in Twin Peaks.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a really nice one as well.
And
it goes from oldies, oldies to modern music, to saxophone based music, to also the song "Just You and I" they put in the series.
Yeah.
It's one of the guys. I don't remember his name right now, but he plays it in the bar on a guitar.
Yeah.
That song, and they got a lot of critic for that because it's a really bad song actually.
Oh.
But it's so bad, and because it's in Twin Peaks, it becomes good. And he just, because he got so much critic for it, he just put it in Series 3 again. So, and that's also on here. And when it comes along, earlier today, I think the first track of side C or B is with saxophone, and it's like it has this drive, and the kids were dancing at the table. But then the weird song, Just You and I, pops up, and then my girlfriend is like, what the fuck is this? I can't blame her, but yeah, when you hear that song in the context of Twin Peaks, yeah, I think it's so. Yeah. Context is everything.
All right. Yeah, especially with Twin Peaks, I guess, if there is any context. I think the last time I was surprised with something like that was True Detective.
Yeah.
The second season is not as good as the first, of course.
No.
But there
lacks atmosphere.
Yeah, but the music in that, there is a singer-songwriter called Lara Lynn, I think.
Yeah.
She had some albums. She was not in the category of something like Chelsea Wolfe or those kind of people, but I think she had 4 or 5 tracks for that season that she played in the bar.
She plays in the bar, yeah.
Those tracks are, they're not on here, but I have goosebumps. They are so good. They are incredible tracks. That was maybe the last time something like that happened for me with really good tracks. I can't think of titles off the top of them, but you can find them, I guess. They're on Spotify.
Yeah, I know Davey, my brother-in-law, and my DJ partner when we used to do that sometimes. He's a big fan of I wanted to say Laura Lynn, that's not right. But yeah, I know the tracks. Yeah, they're something special.
Something special, yeah. Speaking about Laura Lynn, I just found the Biba Binoche CD I got from you 10,000 years ago. That will be for another time. In closing, I just got this in, and if you want a true line for raw black metal, Atrocity Alter, one of the labels that came out maybe a year ago, did a compilation tape with some of the bigger names, if you will, in raw black metal. Bands like Obsidian Grave, Lampier, Lament in Winter's Night, Carved Cross, Two I Don't Know, Orgy of Carrion, Gormand of Fistmoon, which is one of the names that pops up on all those labels. This is a good walkthrough of some of the subgenres or sounds within the genre. So, yeah. I got this from Hatework, which, if you can support that label, do it. Great guy. But that's that. This is called In Dead's Midst, Volume 1. Great tape. Great sound. That's it. I think a nice compendium on raw black metal. We can talk for hours, I guess, but let's cap it here. Yo.
Yep.
Thanks again. And I'll talk.
You're welcome. Thanks for guiding me, making me take my first steps in this subgenre.
Was this really first? I went to watch raw black metal again, so we can start over again.
Yeah, that I really listened to some of those bands. Yeah, like I said, Nathan's Madrigal from Ulver. I heard that one more than a few times. But really diving into this whole recent scene, I think it was really the first time. Yeah.
Cool. Well, there were some gems in there for sure. So.
Yeah.
There's a lot to discover, a lot to unbury. All right, let's keep it at this. Yo, see you soon.
See you next time.